So this is the matchup everybody has waiting for. This is GOM TV's Season 4 Classic. Welcome everybody, BisuDagger is on the microphone, and look at that. We are looking at one of the most legendary, greatest players of all time. It is Yellow representing the Zerg. He has been playing since 2000. That's 3 years longer than Pusan, who I was just touting earlier for having played really long in the Brood War leagues. A 57% win rate means that he has a better win rate than Zero and Pusan. And 527 games won. That is just an outrageous amount of games played combined. Nearly 1,000 games. And that's just incredible for this Zerg player, Yellow. Unfortunately, he has no gold medals from the major individual leagues, but he has quite a few silvers. So we're hoping that he can really show his way through here and shine very highly. But his Terran opponent, Hiya, who we're about to see here, is just way too strong. Maybe as of late, his games are just really good. Now, similar win rate, 57%, but nowhere near as many games. Not even tipping 500 games. 265 games won though. That's pretty good. And we know that he comes from Hwaisong OZ, and that is a team that really rode on the successes of Jaedong in the past. And then Hiya was kind of like the backup. He was the number 2 player always. And in even today's Sonic Pro League, Hiya is the number 2 player. But the way Killer's playing lately, Hiya may be becoming the number 1 player on his team. Now, he's not even looking up for the camera. He could be a little bit more decent here. But we could see that he's so focused. It's going to be curious to see how good he is. And if he's just going to crush Yellow, or if he's going to put on some good, fun games for us. Now, looking at the crowd, it looks like the cameras are going into their let's show some fanciness, and then let's get into the game mode. Set 1 is going to be underway very soon. Yellow, he's up there in age. I forget how exactly old Yellow is. I will have to figure that out in a second here. But I know Boxer reached his 30s. And yes, so Yellow was born in 1982, so he is 31, but he still looks really young. You know, he looks like a 28-year-old, if anything. And so he's kept himself well together, never got overweight, kept himself in shape, and you know that some players, once they enjoy success, can put on a few extra pounds. But I think everybody here is watching Yellow very heavily, and he knows that all eyes are upon him. He's going to have to show a really good game in order to get into round of 4. So can the Storm do it, or will the Fish King be able to take control and show why Terran is dominant over Zerg? The countdown has finished up, and it looks like we're going to be starting on Python as the first map in this best of 3. And like I said, it is a 4-player map with the giant Python in the middle. Very cool. So what else can we say? There are very wide third expansions, so it is very hard to defend against once you take a third expansion. And tanks are able to reach the mineral lines of the expansion at the mineral only from behind the ridge. So definitely this is something where tanks can play a heavy role in this game and be very useful, even in ZVT. I know that tanks have their role in both matchups very heavily. They're really good at defending zones, and look at that. It is showing the Hiya versus Yellow flashing up and down on that phone. The viewer is very excited to be watching this game. So I'm not entirely sure what that stat is, but I think it's saying that maybe they played each other and one of the players won back in 2009, 2010 on Outsider. So that's definitely a possibility. I wish I could read a little bit more Korean. But our Zerg player, the Storm Zerg Yellow, is spawned at the bottom left location over at that 7 o'clock. Meanwhile, that leaves our Terran player, Hiya, at the 8 o'clock position. So they are in that close spawn position over in the corner, and it's going to get really rough. You see, for Hiya, if yellow's up with the metagame, and we're going to be seeing 2 base Muta. That's how I feel it's going to go. It's going to be 2 base, 3 hatch Muta to try and punish that close location, that close spawn that Hiya has. But there is a curious drone on its way, but that's just a scout. I was wondering if he was getting to send it out to possibly try and do some sort of weird expand. The SUV is scouting over at the top location. Hiya is still a little bit in the dark. The thing is here, if you give away your location by scouting with your Overlord too quickly, then the Terran opponent really doesn't have to do too much scouting. So we can see here that the SUV is continuing on its way to scout over towards that top right location still, just to be a little bit safe, make sure the expansion isn't there. But I feel like a Terran player should have put together exactly where yellow is at this point. Okay, so there is an SUV inside the main. It looks like 2 bases for yellow is underway, and I would imagine he would pick up this extractor very quickly so he could go for that Muta build that I was talking about. Meanwhile, oh wow, a whole face on that poster. That it's quite a big. That looked like a life-size version of Yellow's head, so maybe that was done to scale. So a 3rd hatchery before the extractor, which means that this could be a speedling attack, early on attack. That definitely can indicate that. Otherwise, he wants that additional hatchery so he can drone heavily, but that doesn't make sense. It just definitely doesn't play into what a standard ZVT build would be here. So I imagine that we still will see a morphing layer from yellow, but if we do not see a morphing layer immediately, that means he's going for speed, and he's going to go for a 3 hatch speedling attack. And it looks like just maybe another second here before we can confirm that a lair should be built. 4 Marines are out, but no bunker so far, which would play out really well if this is going to be a Zergling heavy attack. But obviously he is going into the lair now, so we can dispel any of those myths or guesses that it would be some sort of 3 base all-in attack. And off these two barracks, he's going to be pretty safe. An academy is coming down, which means that Hiya wants to invest in that bio early on instead of teching straight up to that to the factory tech and going mech in TVZ. Mech, it makes it a little bit less mobile. Hiya, he's someone who he micros really well with his Marines against mutas. I mean, he's incredibly efficient at it. Okay, and so the reason for the late gas and the additional hatchery now, it makes sense because it looks like with that Hydroden that he is going to be going for a lurker style play. And that was definitely something else that I wanted to guess at, but I wasn't quite sure, so I didn't say it. And now that we can confirm that Hydralisk Den is done, we're gonna see lurkers, and we could see like in Heartbreak Ridge where yellow went for that slow lurker drop, and it completely just effed up Bisu when they were in that matchup. So maybe he could be going for that. It's going to be very, very difficult for him if his overlords get scouted and the Marines are in the right location for him to get those lurkers over there. Okay, so now that the Hydralisk Den is done, the Lurker Den and the lair is finished, you're going to be expecting the Lurker tech to be automatically clicked and on its way. It's going to be really difficult though because this bio push is going to make it really strong. So the benefit of having that 3rd hatchery means that he could get drones out a lot quicker, and if he has to invest in those static defenses. Yeah, oh my god, okay, so these fire bats without medics are going to be extremely weak here, and you want to keep them alive as long as possible. So he brought the fire bat into a position where he can keep them alive, and he's making the Marines get pulled back. SUVs are just going to be fodder to these Zerglings here, and this is really good for yellow. A really smooth attack, and Hiya getting caught without these caught out of position without taking out those Zerglings, and they're stemmed Marines, which means the energy of those medics is going to get even lower because all of those Marines having to heal up on health is not going to bode well for Hiya. Yellow putting himself in really good position so far, allowed him to get those proper static defenses here, and Hydras are now trying to sneak their way out, and maybe he's going to morph lurkers in the back and catch Hiya off guard. The Spire is done though too, so he could go for any sort of muta attack if he wanted to switch into that tech, but I think the Spire is a fake. It's kind of weird. Sometimes you want to just morph a Spire, get it scouted, and then cancel the Spire, but he could be totally faking with this build. A lot of turrets are coming up too, and it looked like there was actually a drone glitched out behind the mineral line here. Either way, with this Spire, it's not going to be bad. So the lurkers and the lings are just kind of hiding themselves in the middle of the map here. Meanwhile, drone is finding its way to an additional base here, and maybe he can hide this start. And now it looks like the lurkers have been seen by these Marines and are trying to get taken out really quickly here. Yellow going in, using micro, making sure his units get burrowed very quickly here and dealing with this Marine attack. Meanwhile, he does have lurkers and static defenses at his base with those sunken colonies, 3 of them in combination here. It's going to be okay for Yellow so far. And now Marines are stimming over to try and take him out. They do reveal the lurkers here. They will get taken out pretty quickly. But it looks like with those Zerglings here, no way, the forces are completely taken out. And now the medics are going to go down too. So Hiya, he's not playing very well. He's continually losing his units. And it seems like scans are going to be pretty rare here. He's going to have to make sure that he saves up energy at his comsat stations and takes out the lurkers effectively. Otherwise, he won't be able to see them, and Yellow can just have his way with Hiya with these attacks. Doing well so far. I cannot believe how well Yellow is playing. With that 3rd expansion, it's going to put him in a really good position here. But it looks like the hatchery hasn't been morphed yet. He just put a drone over there at the top right at the 2 o'clock base, so it could sit there. Meanwhile, the starport is underway, and Hiya just really wants to hold off until he can get science vessels, because Irradiate is such a good spell in dealing with lurkers. Queen's Nest is finished, which means that Hive could be also researched. And I wonder if once he finishes morphing that hatchery, if he's going to go for 3-base Hive and use that Dark Swarm to bust down that natural and really hurt Hiya. Scourge are getting picked off by those turrets. In fact, one of them still managing to survive, and he really wanted to get those Scourge in there to pick off a science vessel, but I think the timing was just a little bit too early. As long as Yellow can continue to reinforce and spread out his lurkers and make a really good line here, it's just going to play out really well for him, especially since he's taking that 3rd base. But the bioforces are getting really high. Now that the tank is done, he can use reveal, and Yellow's going to have to react very quickly here. He's going to have to move these lurkers back. But no, it seems like Hiya is going to move out with a nice spread here. This is not good for Yellow anymore. He lost a lot of lurkers right away, and he should have been able to micro them all back as soon as that attack was going to happen. So the tech is not right for Yellow anymore. Hiya's got way too much army supply, and he might start looking for that 3rd. More lurkers are getting morphed, and you gotta wonder what's the right unit composition to deal with this. Mutas are just going to be too weak at this time, and is he trying to hold lurker here? No, it looks like the spines are going to be going off. Meanwhile, Scourge are trying to get in here and pick off more of these starport units. And it looks like the video just miraculously ends. I'm going to click on the next video and see what happens. Okay, so it looks like that was the end of game number 1. And unfortunately, we did not get to see the end. But if I had to guess what the ending was, it would be that Hiya won. Because Yellow just was so low on army supply. He got that 3rd so late, and he was not able to... I don't know. Look, that's pure speculation. We can continue forward and see what the score is in just a second here. Let's jump forward to see what the score is going to say at the top. Unfortunately, it's still not showing the top. It's still not showing the score. Okay, well, I'm going to stop showing that to you guys because that's revealing too much. Let's take this monitor video down. You guys could probably still hear me. Dealing with these technical difficulties now. So, okay. So, it is confirmed Hiya did win his first game. And so yellow is going to be down 1-0 to Hiya. And I will see you guys at game number